if you raise a child knowing, put my cat back on. That's I didn't put my cat back on my water, and then I ended up throwing it away just now. I'm like, that's actually funny. I don't ever do that. That's weird. Dust, right? I don't like it. I don't like dust. Drinks. So, if a child is raised with self-knowledge, that's something that the parents can absolutely help with. Knowing just how important their voice is, they will work to hone it. They will work to make sure that the right words are coming out of their mouth. If a child is raised with self-knowledge, such as knowing her astrological chart, for instance, that might give them an inkling like, yo, I might have talent in this one area that even Janet Jackson would feel envious of. And, well, goddammit, I am going to develop the shit out of, I am going to, like, literally remove all of the shit, even my own, maybe even the admiration of Janet Jackson would be completely and utterly decimated. And knowing yourself, your value, and what your potential is. But raised in a blinded environment, not knowing who and what you have the potential to be, especially in certain places, like, for instance, places that are high scale and violence and high scale. When I was younger, I had neighbors who literally, there's so many things that happened, but I had, and one thing in particular is that I had a neighbor who took her children. I think she was a single mother and just got so sick and tired of being that way, which a lot of women are. Which is going to lead me into my next topic of what I wanted to talk about. But she took her children, she threw them off the roof, and then she jumped herself, and that was such a tragedy. I just thought about that for days. I just sat there and thought about that. That was such a tragedy. And sometimes children, especially 12th house children, right? They will take on the trauma of people around them. I remember one time my neighbor set her bed on fire, my best friend, and she set her bed on fire, and her father, stepfather, beat her for hours. It's like that Mooney Long song. Hours and hours beat her. And I swear to God, I felt it the whole time. I could see her. I could feel it the whole entire time. That she was getting beat. But what I didn't want to go into is that a lot of us, brown, black women, I shouldn't say brown women because Spanish women, they kind of keep this tradition alive through their name and their naming patterns, right? So a bunch of Marias. And going down the line of ancestral worship is super easy. Maria Velasquez. Oh, shit, that's a fucking party now because 100 of them is going to show up. But in the black community, American specifically, those who consider themselves black and are considered black, don't tend to keep the memories of their lives that they may pass it down, or the memories of their accomplishments, the memories of their magical occurrences so that they may pass it down to their children. It is super important that you do such a thing. Super important so that you can keep and literally a tab and an accounting of what you acquired through hard work and skill versus what you acquired through wishes. Because there is a difference between, like Jay-Z said, ain't no love in the heart of the city. There is a difference between a wish granted and an actual passion that grows from a real fire. This is a phoenix. This is a phoenix flame. This phoenix flame, if nurtured, will bear such wonderful fruit that even the world will be changed by it. A wish granted is something totally different. You have to work hard at both of them. Don't get me wrong, you have to work hard at both of them. But a wish granted is an occurrence that comes from the account of something else. And maybe we'll get more into that at a later time. Maybe we won't. But as far as keeping that diary so that we may pass it down to our children, I know that there are a few black women, Spanish women, white women, but I'm talking about, see, this is the thing. I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman in a black woman's body, the black woman's mind, having had black women's experiences. For the most part, I have not had African American women experiences. I've had black women experiences, and I'll go over that in a different video, because just like the black and white woman, right? Woman who's black and white, you don't necessarily fit in with being black. You don't necessarily fit in with being white. Black American doesn't necessarily fit in with being African American, nor do they fit in, especially if they have different mixed cultures, right? My mother, when we were younger, she had this big debate. It's like, you're American, you're not Jamaican. My father's Jamaican, and I grew up with my father, but I guess they were having a little bit of an issue at the moment, or she just was wanting to make it a really big joke. I don't know. But you're not Jamaican, you're American. It's like, okay. So I actually grew up a little bit embarrassed to be Jamaican. And when I went to school, like that was like the first time that I encountered like Jamaican pride, like outside of my father's. Because when I used to go to my Jamaican people's houses and all of that stuff, you know, they weren't real. It was, oh, she American. Look at the way she eat, and oh, look at the way she had this and that, or this and the way and that. So it's really, really similar to what a person who is black and white goes through, except you don't have a noticeable difference in the physical being. Like a white person, it noticeably is different than a black person. White person is noticeably different than a black person. A Spanish person is noticeably different than, I don't know, a fucking, I wanted so hard to give a different avenue and a different example, but a black person. A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, right? And so when you encounter that kind of segregation, that kind of what is it called when it's just like you're just not fucking good enough, period. And that's what black and white, that's what people who are black and white experience, right? They experience, you're too white. Oh, you're too, that nitpicking. You're too white. You're too black. Or because white people are very subtle with it. They don't really necessarily say that you're too black, but it's kind of like, okay, tone that down, okay? All right, I don't know where you get that from, but it's not me. It's not okay either, okay? Right? But a black person does the same thing, you know, depending on what you're mixed with. I met a Haitian. I think she was either, um, yeah, no, she was Haitian and Jamaican, I believe. I think that's what she said. And she's like, I don't like Jamaicans. I don't like Haitians either. It's like that's like that self hate paradigm that applies to the self. And yes, it is sponsored a lot by slavery and racism. Very much sponsored by both slavery and racism. And the fucked up thing is, you will experience racism and colorism, which is totally different than racism, from your own community. White people experience, well, Spanish people experience colorism. Chinese people, Asian people experience colorism. The more that the sun has accepted you and worked its way into your skin, the more people get upset by it for some reason. I think it's the sun jealousy. Maybe it's a moon reflection, right? It's like, oh, moon, people want to try and blame you for men being wolves. It's like, no, that's not the reason. It's the fact that you even said that sentence. That you tried to calculate what I was before I revealed to you what I was. That's why people blame the moon, because the moon is a reflection of the sun. A moon is a reflection of the sun. It shows you back. It's a mirror of the sun. And it shows you back, I guess, how other people view you. Because there are different mirrors, right? There are mirrors that you look directly into and you see a direct reflection of yourself. And on the other side of that mirror is either pill bottles or a brick wall. Or there are those special mirrors, right? That you look in and you see a reflection of yourself, but behind that mirror is someone else is standing there. And that person has no reason to, well, they have their reasons. They're examining you like a fucking animal. Like a fucking experiment. And shit. So there's something about living as an experiment that's just like, psh, bitch, I'm not doing nothing. you got all the natural talent in the world, but am I gonna do something with this? I don't. Besides have a fucking anxiety sack? Is the anxiety sack about other people and about how I can't choose a side, or is it about the fact that I'm a fucking experiment for y'all? What is that about? Scientists want to know. Scientists want to know. I just went off a little bit. But back to what I was saying is why it's so important to keep a historical documentation of your life so that, you know, your children, your offspring don't get you fucked up, first of all. Like, this is who I was. That's not who I was. It's like what I was saying about Lucifer the other day. In my last video. I didn't post it yet. But yeah, I was saying, you only know that entity from what you heard about it through the biblical sphere, and not even through the Bible, but through the people who believe wholeheartedly in the Bible that this is it, this is it, this is it. And Abraham and the Legends, of course. But a lot of those people will confuse and put together that Satan And Lucifer is the same thing. It's like, maybe it's opposites of each other, but definitely not opposing each other. Because they both understand, wow, Satan is a fucking mad scientist. People will more likely appreciate that. Lucifer is this artsy type of being that people, let's be honest, a lot of people covet. So it's more like a fucking thing than an actual person, which again will stunt someone's growth if they're raised as a thing more than a person, or viewed more as a thing than a person. Make them very, very fucking hesitant to share with you. That's why it's a lot of celebrities. Like, I don't understand. There's a lot of, you don't even, that's what's crazy, right? There's a lot of celebrities who have so buku of talent, but they stop doing their craft that they get paid for, specifically because they don't feel human when the public is viewing them. Certain people in the public is viewing them, and they view them as things and objects. Like, let me take a picture of this thing in this most fucking private function, just because I have the vantage point of it, and sell that shit for $1 million, because this is the thing. It's not a fucking person that have real fucking emotions, that has, and people like to pretend like the emotions don't matter, or count. Yeah, sure it doesn't. Sure don't. But why do you act out of jealousy if emotions don't count? Why do you act out of envy if emotions don't count? It's an interesting question to ask. But yes, keeping your grimoires, your book, your historical documentation of who you are and the things that you have accomplished, the magic that you have used, the ways that you have pushed through, and not even just limited to magic on your accomplishments, right? It's the way that you have pushed through certain oppositions are super important. It's just that some people don't do it because they know, we all know through history, right, that there are certain people who will come and pick up your books and pick up your fucking organs even, and make patents of your fucking organs and leave your children out in the fucking dust if you have children. And so for that very reason, certain people neglect to do certain portions of legacy keeping. Either you are completely disenchanted with the idea of having a legacy to move on by constant thievery, or you just don't think of it because you have so much other shit going on, trauma going on. It's very interesting because this morning I started to watch this lecture from Thich Nhat. I know I should be able to pronounce his name. It's such a popular name, but I don't quite remember how to pronounce it. So, well, you know who I'm talking about. Thich Nhat. Yeah, but anyway. And he was talking about hungry ghosts and how they get created is by and through a disconnection with your family. And I found that just kind of ironic because the Bible says if you want to be like Jesus Christ, you have to abandon your family. Obviously, that's where a lot of my, excuse me, I know some of y'all see it, and it's like, bitch, do it already. So, sorry. Just one moment. I'm not going to edit. Oh, you know what? Maddie's back, guys. Alright. So, we're back. Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh huh. Irony that if you want to be like Jesus Christ, you need to disconnect from your family. Not only because sometimes your family is limiting to you, because they, a lot of times, base you off of what you used to be, like their concepts and their perception of you, based off of who you were rather than who you have grown to be. But is it a possibility that this is like you're trying to create a whole bunch of hungry ghosts for the system? That's funny, right? That's hilarious. That's where my mind goes. Yeah, that's what I'd be thinking about. But just the one possibility. If people are really that villainous, right? To use your family, your spirits, to disconnect, to actively try and disconnect you and your family so that they may create a horde of hungry ghosts to put in a system that they may force them to do whatever they want them to do, which would be to work off their karmic debt by intervening on the behalf of other people. In the same manner that you weren't able to use for yourself. Chironic. Chironic. Oh shit. That became a pun. That's awesome. It's chironic. Oh, that's gonna need to be a word, guys. That's chironic. It's a type of art. It's the type of irony in which you can place it onto other people, but you can't. It cannot be placed for yourself. I'll find a better definition. It has something to do with other people being able to, there's this thing that goes, I can and you can't. I can and you can. Well, Bishop, if I remove myself, then we both fucking can't. Well, no, I can and you can't. Because you fucking need me, bitch. If I remove myself, then I can and you can't. So I think that's probably something about what Jesus was trying to convey, right? Or the story of Jesus. It's really funny, really funny, really funny. Not really funny. The same thing probably happened to Solomon, where their stories, their grimoire, their family history, but not Jesus, because Jesus was a beggar, and who said that he belonged to the Solomonic legacy? Maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't. It could have been. I don't know. I'm here in 2022 AD. You see. Funny thing is, you could possibly be very much so related to Solomon, and you just don't know. Because Solomon's documentations and his family history was taken by the Vatican, by the church, and by the synagogue. I don't know if there's a synagogue that is like the Vatican, in which this is the big building in the central place, right? Funny thing about this symbol is you can find it in Europe as well, in Babylon. Asia, sorry, Asia as well. This symbol. And there are actually quite a few people who have gone between Babylon and um, historical figures between Babylon and Egypt. And this symbol can be found between those two places. That's also funny. What's also funny is I want to make a video about this so bad, and I think I'm gonna stop this video soon and make a video about it, or maybe I'll just go into it right now. I think I've done like 3 random topics in this video, so let's do another one, I guess, right? And then I'll make it a whole different video by itself because it is quite interesting to me that most people who look like me only associate themselves with Africa or as Native Americans, right? But we be like we the first people on Earth. So how is it that you've only been limited to Africa? And how is it that you think that all of your people come from Africa if you are the first peoples of the Earth? Wouldn't it be that you're like all over the fucking place? Especially knowing that at one point this was Pangea, and after Pangea then became all the segregated portions and continents of the world. Wouldn't you have survived some of your people on these continents as well? I saw a picture from an old encyclopedia, and I will try to post it, which means that I'm going to have to edit this video. I'm not going to edit it though, so I'll probably just post it as the first picture, primary picture of this video, or maybe I'll do another video and with the portion of this, yeah, I'll probably do that. So you can see what I'm talking about. But there is a old encyclopedia picture that shows not only brown-skinned Mongolians, which is very interesting because when you go and research how Mongolians look right now, they are much lighter than the complexions of that ancient picture, which of course was a drawing, but it was drawn to show you how these people look, and they included pigmentation in that particular picture. And a lot of Mongolians have much lighter pigmentations than what was depicted. But yeah, they showed a Caucasian, and it was a Negro. That was a Negro. He had big nose, afro hair, a Negro. A Negro. There was also another one. Yeah, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up later though, because I'm actually gonna go downstairs and cook right now. I'm not even gonna cook, but I'm gonna do. But I just kind of want to end this video right now. I just want to end this video right now. You know. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. I looked it up. I've been looking it up. Yeah, here it goes. Just one moment, please. Just one moment, please. The thing about your parents, okay, yeah, let's continue, right? The thing about your parents is they can only give you as much as they have available for themselves. Australian, that's what it was. Right. So they can only give you as much as they have available within themselves. We know that. If your parent has within them, I'm gonna be rich by making my children rich. I'm doing, that's something that they're going to. That's a standard. That's the energy that they're going to give you. That's the energy that they're going to come through you with. They're going to force you to develop yourself and force perfection through you so that they can earn through you as much as possible. The same with a parent who just genuinely, I don't know if that's for whoever, but they just genuinely see your talent. And so they invest in your talent. They have belief and faith in you. But if your parent doesn't have that much belief and faith in themselves because it's been removed from them, it's been removed from them and from their, string of generations, it's been removed from them, they're not really going to invest that in you, right? And if you're a prodigy, and that you get totally obsessed with this, you're going to do it yourself, right? But if you are like most children who are like, wow, the world is so fucking big, the world is fucking huge, I want to explore, you'll be, what is that? What is that? The jack of all trades. Jack of all trades is a master of none. And you'll leave it at that without understanding that the master of one is still better than the master of none. I know I said that wrong, but it still has the same quality of the original expression. So that is also very, very important as to why you should be definitely leaving behind this written legacy of who you are. But your children know, oh, I got this talent. My mother was a writer. My father was somebody who was, he was really good at making connections with people. He was really good at, I'm not even going to say too much, because, people watch things for the wrong reason. They pick up information for the wrong reason. And what's wrong for me is, unfortunately, right for other people, right? If you're a thief, if you are someone who is constantly blaming other people for your shit, and, or just fucking envious, then you're probably going to pick up information. I'm not saying everybody's envious of me, but you're probably going to pick up information for the wrong fucking reason so that you could do the wrong thing to me or somebody else, So, yeah, caution with what you share on the internet, please. Ha? Just kidding. That's really funny because I spent a lot of time with my father. He was really good at making connections with people and just kind of like knowing, That's my father. He was just knowing. My mother was really good at art, which I didn't know until like recently. Really fucking good at art. And so am I. So are my sisters. My sisters are really, really artsy, and the art takes forms in different ways. I said that earlier because you never know. Like I said earlier, right? If you are raised with the idea that Janet Jackson might be covetous of your abilities and covetous of who you could possibly be, you probably go in a whole different fucking direction. You would probably be that child prodigy, right? Where you just like, I'm not putting this down no matter what. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Now, I know, unfortunately, a lot of children, especially brown, black children, who, I don't know why I keep on saying it like that, but it's coming out like that. Must be for a reason. Must really include brown people as well, whose parents have been so accosted and overexposed to violence and overexposed to chaotic energy that takes them off of the course of their desires and of their life and of their passions. that they literally have a hard time honing in on their gifts. Like if they have a gift at singing, it's shut the fuck up. Shut up. I don't want to hear anything. Turn the fucking music down. You know? It gets like that. So I know a lot of children who, you know, they fucking woke up this morning. They woke up this morning with this God-given talent that's just innately within them, but they couldn't hone it. They couldn't bear it, hold on to it because their parents literally forced them to let it go. Because of what? Society, which is another parent, right? It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a child. Which is the ironic. What the fuck? What was that word? Chironic. It's really chironic coming from someone like myself. Because it's like, theoretically, you should be charged with losing your fucking children. With child neglect. Because if this was love, you would have died for your fucking children. There's no way that your children should be separated from you. Especially if you all come from Chiron. Not all of us come from Chiron now. So, we're just going to have to leave that a fucking mystery. Till the day we die. And then at that day, that evidence will also die and you'll still be fucking lost, motherfucker. I gotta go. My kettle went off a while ago. My mother turned it off for me. So I'm gonna go get me a cup of tea and or maybe a cup of coffee and a cup of wine and a cup of water. Who knows what I'll be drinking.